Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm just going to adjust this real quick. There we go. My name, of course, is John Campea. Good to have you guys here. I'm joined in studio today by Jonathan Voico.
The trick, guys, is to turn the cameras on.
Yeah, something we forgot to do right up until we started the show. Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
It's just fighting one battle after another.
And of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making your little show part of your day. Listen, we got a whole bunch of stuff to get to, but before we jump into it, a little bit of housekeeping here. This Friday, the movie meetup continues. As you can see from the schedule here, now we've already done Denver and Salt Lake City and Las Vegas, but this Friday, we're going to be in the San Francisco area at the Regal Hacienda IMAX in Dublin for the 7:15 p.m. screening of Psycho. There's not many tickets left. I was just telling Rob, I jumped on their site, and the two screenings surrounding this screening of Psycho have sold a combined 5 tickets, whereas this one is pretty much sold out. There are still some tickets available, so if you want to come and join us at the movie meetup on Friday, again, go to the Regal website, buy yourself tickets for the Psycho 7:15 p.m. showing at the Regal Hacienda. Then on Sunday, we're going to be in the Portland area at the Regal Evergreen Parkway for the 6:40 p.m. screening of Him. And then on Monday, September 22nd, we're going to be in Seattle at the AMC Kent Station for a 7 p.m. screening of a movie I've never seen on the big screen, Howl's Moving Castle, which I'm very excited about. And for those of you guys who don't know, the way the movie meetups works is really simple. I'm just going to go to this movie. You can buy a ticket to it as well, and you can go and watch the movie, and we'll all watch the movie together. And then after the movie's done, I hang out in either the lobby or in front of the theater for about an hour or so, or 2 hours, whatever, and meet everybody, take some pictures, whatever. If you would like to come and join us, why don't you come on down and join us at one of these movie meetups? And more announced dates are coming up for October. We'll announce those a little bit later. All right. With all that down, guys, let's get things started with this. 2 years ago at CinemaCon, they showed us a preview for the new Aziz Ansari, Seth Rogen, and Keanu Reeves film, Good Fortune. But then they never released it. Then they talked about it again at this year's CinemaCon, and now it's coming out, and the first reviews are now coming out, and they're pretty solid. They're pretty good. Listen, I'll tell you what, the previews they showed us, I was laughing my ass off. I thought it looked absolutely hilarious. As of this recording, it has an 83%. And everybody's saying it's pretty darn good. I mean, I'm not reading anybody saying it's the comedy of the year, but everybody's saying it's pretty good. Let's go over and take a look at some of these reviews. The Verge wrote, "This movie gets by purely on its jokes. It's a pretty straightforward mixture of Freaky Friday and It's a Wonderful Life." So they liked it from The Verge. Variety liked it. They said, the comedian might not be this generation's Frank Capra, but it's still nice to see a celebrity who recognizes what normal folks are going through and uses his platform to address it. Obviously talking about Aziz. The Playlist liked it. They said, Good Fortune is a refreshing comedy that audiences haven't seen in a while. A movie with a message that both advocates for a cause and entertains. Loud and Clear liked it. They said, thank heavens Ansari's divine comedy is finally here. It's exactly what his fans were hoping for. Again, they've been talking about this movie for like 2 years. It's finally here. Screen Rant liked it. They said Aziz Ansari's feature directorial debut, Good Fortune, is funny, heartfelt, and entertaining, with Keanu Reeves' earnest angel emerging as the MVP, which I think all of us who saw the previews for it kind of figured he would, because he really does come. I mean, listen, there's a lot of good moments in the trailers, but the single best moment in the previews we saw and the trailers is, I wanted to show them that money wouldn't solve all of his problems. And it seems that it solved most of his problems. It's like one of the best lines in a trailer ever. Anyway, Joe Blow Movies, our good friends over at Joe Blow, wrote, Keanu Reeves is hilariously cast against type. The film stage liked it, saying it's a well-made directorial debut that shows a love for cinematic history and a unique sensibility to build upon it. It's rather simple homage. Communal entertainment with lighthearted, surrealist fantasy and relatable everyman problems. Hollywood Reporter liked it. They said, summoning those deadpan days of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Parenthood, Reeves is determined, but out of his depths, Gabriel consistently scores as the film's comedic secret weapon. Now, I wanted to keep reading because I wanted to get one that didn't like it. So we got to the awards watch. Didn't like it. They said the problem with Ansari's first feature directorial film is that it's barely funny at all and suffers from lack of humor that's needed from a major studio comedy. Again, humor is the most subjective thing of a subjective art form. And like what makes one person laugh may not make another person laugh. Clearly, Awards Watch didn't find it very funny. And then we'll end off with Screen International wrote, a blistering barrage of jokes backed by immense heart. Good fortune is a surprising gift. All right. So listen, I'll tell you what, even when I saw the previews for it and I thought it looked really funny and I was very excited to see it, nothing about it said to me, this is the next 40-year-old virgin, or this is the next decade by decade remembered fondly comedy or something like that. But I thought this just looks like a really entertaining watch. And it seems like, Rob, from a lot of the responses and the reviews we're reading, it's a lot of jokes. It's not a premise we haven't seen before, but it's just a lot of jokes and they make us laugh. And Rob, I've always said, you can get, to make a good feature film, you got to check a lot of boxes. You got to do a lot of things right. You want to create interesting characters we relate to. You want to create a good narrative stretch. You want to create nice plot twists. You want to have good dialogue, all that kind of stuff. I've always said, though, comedies, while extremely hard, you can get away with a lot with a comedy. You can have not the greatest characters. You can have not the greatest story. You can even have not the greatest dialogue. But if you make the audience laugh, we'll forgive everything else. You know what I mean? And it's at least sounds like, while using kind of a tried and true storyline, it sounds like from the majority of the reactions that it does make us laugh. I'm excited about seeing it. Where's your anticipation level like for Good Fortune? And is this the type of reaction you thought we'd hear? What's impressing you? What's concerning you? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, the trailer I thought was, it's nice and sweet, and it's got a fantasy premise that it doesn't necessarily lend itself to huge guffaws, because it doesn't seem like it's raunchy, and it doesn't seem like it's, overtly sexual in nature. It seems like it's a good-hearted sort of slice of life, imparting wisdom, how the other half lives. The grass is always greener. If I had money, all of my problems would be solved. I mean, but that premise can be really effectively dealt with. And if it's thought-provoking and funny and sweet and amusing, I think it's done its job, because that's what it's set out to do. And I love, as a subgenre of comedy, ever since I was a little kid and saw Oh God, the first Oh God with George Burns. I loved Oh God. And then there was 3 of them. There was Oh God, then it landed with, I think, Oh God, You Devil.
I don't remember the third one.
Oh God, You Devil, I think is what the third one was. And
so much of that just shot in Burbank. It's just like all around my house.
Yeah, totally. I've always loved, things like Good Omens that was on TV, and I've always loved that premise. And so I'll go see it just for that. And I love just the idea of casting Keanu Reeves as an angel. And like you said, I've loved him in the trailers. It's kind of deadpan, and I'm like, I'll go see it, because again, you have authorship. I think Aziz Ansari wrote it too, right?
I believe he did, yeah.
So that's what I want. That's whenever I go see a movie, I really like seeing a film that's written and directed by someone, whoever it was, male, female. I love seeing what they bring to the art form. And so I'll go see it. I'm kind of excited about it, to be honest.
Correct me if I'm wrong. By the way, I just want to say, one of our viewers, Team Movies, wrote, "It sounds like It's a Wonderful Life meets Trading Places." That's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the reviewers mentioning this is Aziz's first directorial effort. It wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, right. That was that other movie that got yanked.
Yeah,
pulled.
Aziz had this other movie that he was making with Bill Murray in it. And I guess they got 3/4 of the way through shooting it. Bill Murray got himself into some trouble, and the studio just said, we're not going to release it.
Right.
We just don't think the PR headache we're going to get from it was kind of worth it. Whether they were right or wrong to do that, it's their movie. But that was supposed to be Aziz's first directorial effort. Now it's going to be good fortune. If there's anything Keanu Reeves ain't gonna make a PR problem for you. Like, that ain't gonna happen. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Have you been looking forward to this movie? Maybe you don't think it looks that good. I think it actually does. The reviews are pretty solid. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? We've been doing the movie meetup roundabout tour, and when I was in Salt Lake City doing our movie meetup there, I meet everybody afterwards and talk to everybody. Somebody came up, this young guy, and he asked me a really interesting question. Now, I hate people asking me top 10 things, but he came up and said, "I'm just curious, Mr. Campea."
He called you Mr. Campea?
He did. He was like 19, so God bless him.
Good for him. Good manners.
I corrected him and said, "That's Lord Campea," to which he was embarrassed and then corrected himself.
As he should.
And he said, "What do you think are the worst traits of movie YouTube channels right now?"
Interesting question.
And I thought, you know what? That's a good question. I mean, it's a field I obviously care very deeply about, and it's not a field that's perfect. And I thought, that's interesting. And I mentioned a couple off the top of my head, and I thought, so that was that. Anyway, rewind to yesterday. Anne asked me a question about something trivial, and I thought I'll just open Google Gemini and ask. And for some reason, the question that kid asked me came back to my head. So I decided just to ask Google Gemini. I said, "Hey, Gemini, what are the 10 worst things about movie YouTube channels?" Or I might have worded it like, what are the 10 most irritating things or trends about movie YouTube channels?
Oh, here it comes.
So I thought, instead of trying to create my own list, I thought, you know what? I thought that's very interesting. Let's just go through the things it gave me.
You have plausible deniability.
Yep. But you know what? A couple of these sting me a little bit, and that's okay. So let's go over and take a look at them. And the first couple are ones that actually really irritate me. The first one it gave me was overly exaggerated and misleading thumbnails and titles. This is a widespread problem across many YouTube niches, but it's particularly prevalent in the movie world. You'll see a thumbnail with the creator's shocked or angry face, often with red circles and arrows, and all caps titles like "This movie is a disaster" or "The worst movie ever made." It sounds like when I was talking about War of the Worlds, the Ice Cube movie. Anyway, the video's content often doesn't live up to the sensational titles, and it's a transparent attempt to get a click. All right. I'm also going to I'm going to honestly try to give myself a pass fail on each one of these. All right. By the way, and obviously I'm biased because I'm me, but I'm going to try to be as objective as I can, give myself a pass fail. I'm going to give myself a pass on this one because I really do try to just, whatever the story is, that's what the thumbnail is. That's what the title is.
I totally agree with you.
I try. I'm sure I fail here and there, but I do try.
You're not prone to hyperbole on these things.
I try not to be. But I'm human. I'm sure I do from time to time. But yeah, this is one that really does irritate me, especially like when you go to a YouTube channel, like even some good ones, right? And you realize almost every video, every thumbnail they have is of that. And it's like, it kind of loses it. So I get that one. This other one could have been looped in with the first one. The second one reads, headlines and titles teasing without giving topic information. This is a common occurrence in the movie and entertainment niche. If a popular series or film franchise is canceled, a title like "Fan Favorite Show Canceled" is used without telling the audience which show. They require the viewer to click in order to find out what the story actually is.
I hate that.
This one drives me crazy. Like, and again, I'm going to give myself a pass on this one. There are a couple coming up, which I do not. But this one really does drive me crazy, especially because like I read the news feeds of about 40 or 50 outlets, right? And it just initially brings up just the titles, and it drives me crazy. Let's say Harrison Ford has been cast in the new Judd Apatow movie. Iconic actor cast in new comedy. your headline's supposed to tell me what it is. And I try to make sure I do that. Like whenever I make a title, I try to make sure it's the information. And again, I'm sure I slip on it from time to time, but this is one of the big ones for me, Rob. Like as somebody who goes through the news feeds a lot, this is one that really irritates me a lot. I don't know. What's your thought on that one?
Dude, not only do I hate it, but I hate that you have to sometimes read 5 or 6 paragraphs into the story before the answer is provided.
I just skip through
and,
now.
And lately I've noticed that there's a lot of these stories that are ambiguous to get you to click on them, not just entertainment stories, but stories about everything. And I really hate that because what those outlets are telling me is they don't respect me or my time. And I get angry about it. Maybe not like Hulk angry. It's just annoying because I'm like you say, I have like 40, 50 different, I read all kinds of things, not just entertainment news. And I want to be able to zip through this stuff. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, why are you wasting my time? And usually those outlets get a block from me, unless it's a larger site that I go to all the time.
Right. Again, I'm sure, like considering I make about 40 to 50 titles a week, so maybe a couple of hundred a month, a couple of thousand a year, I'm sure I've slipped up on this. I'm sure I have.
Sure,
but it really irritates me when I catch that I did it too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're a pretty straight shooter when it comes out, especially when you break up the show into segments. You know, you have the show, you can watch the whole show, or I know that there's people that go and just watch the segments. And I think that's a pretty straightforward, honest, you're an honest broker.
Well, we try. Anyway, all right, the third thing up is endless negative commentary and dunking on films. There's a disproportionate amount of movie-related content dedicated to tearing down films, particularly recent blockbusters or widely panned movies. While there's a place for negative reviews, I often say that, the constant stream of hate watch content can become repetitive and cynical. It can feel like creators are simply feeding into a negative feedback loop for easy clicks rather than offering any meaningful or balanced critique. I'm going to give myself I'm going to give 3 rankings: pass, fail, or push. I'm going to give myself a push on this. And the reason I'm going to give myself a push is like, okay, I have a rule for myself. If I don't like a movie, right, I make one video, usually it's review, and say why I don't like the movie. I will not then go on to make 3, 4, 5 videos about why that movie sucks, right? But the reason I don't give myself a pass is because while I won't make another video about it, I will bring it up in other conversations. So like, for example, let's say I hated Morbius, right? So I made a video about how I hated Morbius and I think Morbius is bad. Great. Now I'm not going to make 7 videos about it. But if we're now talking about Tron Ares, I will bring up, now, of course, let's not forget Jared Leto did Morbius and Morbius freaking sucked and blah, blah. But I won't make a new headline out of it. I won't make a new title of it. So I kind of pass, kind of fail on that one. You know me and my philosophy on this, guys. I believe our time on Earth is limited. I want to spend it doing things we enjoy and we love. So if there's so like Acolyte, if I wanted to like Acolyte, but at some point I just realized this sucks. Why spend my time watching it when I can spend time watching things I enjoy? And with my channel, if I hate something, I'll mention that I hate it, but I'll try not to make 7 or 8 different videos about it unless new news topics come up. So yeah, again, I'm going to give myself a push. Rob, your thoughts?
Look, I agree with you. I don't want to dislike anything. And I try and keep an open mind. There's only one subject matter that I'll leave nameless right now that I consistently have gone after on multiple occasions, but I have that's special circumstances for me personally. But, movies are so hard to make. And I think that, and I also, if you're going to dunk on a movie, give me some cogent analysis of why you think the movie's bad.
Because it sucks.
Yeah, that is the worst. Anybody who says a movie sucks immediately they're invalidated to me. I hate to say it because that doesn't tell me anything. If you think a movie is bad or it doesn't work for you or you think it sucks, I need to know why you think that, because that's not enough. And I think that the word sucks means you don't know why you dislike something.
Sucks because it's mid.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Sucks and mid. I don't like that. If something's bad, I would like to hear some cogent analysis. Like, for instance, I don't know if you ever watched Red Letter Media's takedowns of the prequel trilogy, but those are hours long, and you know exactly why Mr. Plinkett does not like the prequels. And I found them to be very cogent when I watched them. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of insight here, even though there's a lot of venomous hate too. But it was entertaining and educational hate. And that, I feel, gives something. But we don't do that on this show. You don't ever do that. You never just come out and say something sucks. You never come out and go.
Yeah, unless I'm saying it because I've already explained it. Like I try to.
Well, that's
do that.
because
Right, but that's what I mean. But you explain it. You
that's
have
called
analysis.
referencing something. That's just a reference.
Yeah, you have analysis, and you provide something that I think is food for thought. And that's what YouTube channels are best at. Give me food for thought.
And what's the undertone? The undertone isn't like, and it sucks, and the reason why it sucks is because it's ruining our society, and this is why we have to stop. It's like, calm down.
Well, that is true about Star Trek.
The word mid is misused.
Yeah, it means it's average.
Yeah, like I remember. So mediocre means it's middle of the road.
Yeah.
But I remember I called something mediocre once, and it's like, how dare you say this movie sucks? I'm like, guys. Anyway, so there's that one. We need to move on. All right, so that's that one. Next up. I don't know if I get away with this one or not. Stretching videos to 10 plus minutes for ad revenue. The YouTube algorithm often rewards longer videos, so many creators, including movie YouTubers, will needlessly pad out their content. A review or commentary that could be 5 to 7 minutes long is stretched over 10 minutes with rambling introductions, that might be me, recaps of the plot, and unnecessary filler. This makes the content less efficient and can feel like a waste of the viewer's time. All right. I'm going to give myself a fail on this one, but I want to put the caveat in that I actually actively try to keep our videos as short as we can. I remember once, infamously, I was so determined to shorten our videos, I implemented, and you guys remember this? I implemented a shot clock.
Yeah.
Remember that? I literally when we would start talking about a topic, I would literally put up a shot clock on the screen for a countdown that we would then have to end by the time it was done. I liked it. I thought it was a pretty fun thing to do and would keep the shows zippy and everything. And everybody hated it. I got so much negative backlash from that. They just, oh my God, they hate it so much. So I killed it after one try. I thought it was a great idea.
Wasn't that back in the old place in Burbank?
It was. It was back in Burbank when I was still living there. So I tried the shot clock to keep it low, to keep the time down. So, I mean, I'm guilty in the sense that I'd say maybe half of our segments go over 10 minutes. But I'm innocent in the fact that I don't try to make them be. I don't like having Twitter discussions. I like having real discussions and giving real context, but I do try to shorten it anyway. I don't know, Rob, your thought on Gemini's irritation.
Dude, my entire YouTube channel itself is built on rambling for as many hours as possible, so I have no idea what it means to make an 8 to 10 minute video. That would mean I was a genius. So I can't relate to that at all. My entire existence is all about dragging out my points and beating them into the ground.
You take the term long form to its extent.
Unfortunately, that's not what she said.
All right. Next one that it gives up here. We knew this would be a part of it. This would be on there. Reaction videos with minimal original commentary. This trend involves a creator simply playing a movie trailer or a clip from a film and reacting to it, often with an exaggerated or over-the-top display of emotion. These videos offer little in the way of original analysis or insight and are essentially just re-uploaded content with a face in the corner. It's a low-effort way to generate views by piggybacking on popular releases. Okay, so obviously this is not one I'm guilty of because I don't even do reaction stuff. I have a love-hate relationship with reaction stuff because, you know, hey, listen, I experimented with reaction content. I just realized this isn't for me. I'm not being, because my reactions when I'm watching a trailer are, that's my real reactions. So I thought that's either a really boring video or I have to act. Wow! Or, you know, stuff like that. So, so I don't do them. And a lot of reactor stuff does irritate me. But then again, there are reactor guys like Greg and John over at Real Rejects, or the guys over at Day One, Struggle Nation, where they actually give a lot of insight and thought into it. And I actually enjoy that. Like, so that's pretty good. But yes, the reaction thing is a pretty standard staple thing. Like, even in movie channels that you wouldn't even think, because the reality, Rob, is reaction videos get clicks.
Yeah.
And
Well, because everybody wants to know what someone else thinks about something they like.
I have constantly been told I need to do reaction videos. I've had business people, my own business people, tell me you need to do reaction stuff because that gets close to the popular. It's like, I get it, but it's not me. So I don't do it, even though I know it can get a lot of clicks. So there's some really good stuff. There's some bad stuff. I don't know. What do you think about it, putting this on the list?
Oh, I think it's true. Look, it's not that reaction videos are bad. It's whether or not the commentary in them is good.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and there's
lack thereof.
Or lack thereof. Like there's a girl named Bunny Tail Reacts, and I started watching because she was watching original Star Trek. And I got to say, I hate to admit this, her reviews of the Star Trek movies made me choke up at the end because she loved the film and she had these responses to them. And I found that, and there's other people, I find myself listening to a lot of album reactors now, people who haven't heard certain songs before. And there are certain people that have very interesting things to say. And I find myself drawn to those.
You know what, to your point on that, I shared recently that I went down a rabbit hole on YouTube recently watching vocal coaches doing reactions.
I love those
to K-pop Demon Hunter's Golden song, right? And I went down this rabbit hole, and for a 3-minute song, it's a 20-minute video,
right? Because
they're pausing, saying, "Okay, you have to understand using the diaphragm of blah to hit the A sharp that she hits here is something that about 3% of the population," and they're doing this deep analysis of it.
I love
and
that.
That was brilliant.
Yeah,
I always just make a comment. I say that was mid.
Yeah, watch the song. Okay, stop the song. That song sucked. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. All right. We move on to the next one. Culture war, or woke versus anti-war commentary. A significant number of movie channels have pivoted from genuine film criticism to commentary rooted in political or social issues. They'll frame a review around a culture war narrative, more commonly condemning a movie for being woke or preachy. This approach often ignores the actual quality of the filmmaking and instead serves as a vehicle for a broader political agenda. You know me, I think this is the single most thing destroying movie fandom right now. I think this is the thing that the single most, I mean, it's not the only thing, but there's no other thing that is destroying movie fandom more than this. Like on our channel, like correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I've ever on this channel said, this movie needs more gay people in it. Or this people needs...
I feel that about most movies, though.
This movie needs more Latinos in it. Or this movie needs more Canadian-Italian representation. Or whatever.
Like the Hulk.
Yeah, like in the Hulk. That's why I give the Hulk such a high score. I just want studios and filmmakers to tell the stories they want to tell. And if they make them with this group of people or that group of people or whatever, great. And I don't have an issue with it either way. But you can see a lot of it out there where it's like the whole thing is about pushing a political agenda. And it's like, I just want to watch a movie and let filmmakers tell the story they want to make. Telling the story of the world through the lens of their eyes, and just tell the story. And if it's good and it's got a lot of people of different lifestyles or different ethnic backgrounds or different whatever, fine. And if it doesn't, fine. Just tell me a story. But man, it is becoming a trend, and it's not just YouTubers, it's bloggers, it's podcasters, and it's not even just in the movie sphere either.
No.
It's all about whether it aligns with their political agenda. And that is something that I think is the biggest destructive force in film fandom today, myself personally. But we've talked a lot about that, so I don't need to spend a lot more time on it. All right. Last one, or not those, this isn't the last one. This is one I'm probably going to fail on. Repetitive and formulaic content. This is a broader YouTube issue, but it is very apparent in the movie space. Many channels find a formula that works and then stick to it rigidly. This can include endless top 10 lists. I don't do endless ones, but I've been known to do a few top 10 lists.
But the thing is, those are immediately compelling.
I try to make them that
people
way,
want to
yeah.
know. I find them. It's. You can say that people do that, but if I like a YouTuber and I like a personality, their top 10 lists, no matter what they are, tell me something about them. You know, you're getting insight into their personality, and you're getting insight to what they like and what they. I find that compelling, and especially if it's somebody that I really like, no matter what space or where it's on. I think that's legit. And it is also, it's a quick way to make content. But in my mind, if you have a good top 10 list, it's worth listening to.
Okay. I just want to bring this up because I remember I was going to say, we recently did a thing like there's I'm not trying to dunk on them. Like there's Screen Rant, and obviously they got into the news for some pretty negative reasons recently. And I remember we did this thing where we went down their lists. And like, if you look at this right now, I just thought, I wonder what they got right now. Okay, open it up. Here's the latest stuff. I only had to get down to the second story that came out 3 minutes ago. Top 10 action-packed animated shows that aren't anime. Get down to the next one that came out 32 minutes ago. 8 Western TV shows with perfect endings.
I really need a 10 on that.
32 minutes ago. 5 DC costumes that are better than the comics. Then 1 hour ago, 5 times DC Comics copied Marvel characters. Then, not one for a while. Then 2 hours ago, top 10 scariest scenes from John Carpenter horror films. So there's 5 of them within the last 2 hours. Then we get another one. 2 hours ago, 10 strongest Demon Slayer demons.
You just did that one. 4 games leaving Xbox. That's not really a countdown.
10 acclaimed sci-fi series that flopped at the box office. So within the last 4 hours, they've had about 7, 8, or 9.
These are all the things that they put out in the last 3 hours.
Dude, we did.
This is all just in the last 3 hours.
We did a story on it, and they're pumping out and they're paying their writers like pennies, but they're pumping out just. I don't even know.
We counted over 120 posts that they put out, simply flooding Google's algorithm to get
it. Are they making these with AI? Are they having AI voices?
I cannot say because I do. But anyway, back to the point of the discussion, which is the top 10. Hey, listen, I'm kind of I've been known to put up the odd top 10 ranking, not often, but I do anyway. Also, a regular ranking of a specific franchise. I've done that. I admit I've done that. A predictable review structure that is identical for every single film. I'm sort of guilty of that in the sense that when I do a review, I try to break it into 3 things. First impression, the bad, the things I didn't like, the things I liked overall. And I do kind of follow that formula. I figure I start with overall, I think this. Now, here are the things I didn't like about it, blah, 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 blah. Here are the things I liked about it, blah, 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 blah. So overall, blah, blah, blah. So I am a little guilty of being a little bit formulaic in my approach with that. And then it ends off with saying this lack of variation makes the content feel more like a product than a passion project, I should say. All right. The next thing it lists is spoiler warnings or lack thereof. On the one hand, you have channels that will fail to put a spoiler warning at the beginning of a video, then proceed to spend the first 5 to 10 minutes summarizing the entire plot, effectively spoiling the movie. On the other hand, some creators will give a full-blown plot summary of a video titled Review, with no warning at all, ruining the experience for viewers who haven't seen the film. Both extremes show a lack of consideration for the audience's viewing experience. I've got to say, I'm going to give myself a push on this. Because listen, I get a lot of criticism for doing spoilers, but we do a couple things. Number one, we put up our spoiler warning when we know we're about to get into spoilery things. But I think it also comes from the fact that we have different definitions of what a spoiler is. I can say, there's a scene in the movie where Timothée Chalamet and Margot Robbie are having a dinner, and somebody will, you're spoiling it. I'm like, well, that's not a pivotal thing in the movie. I'm just telling you there's a dinner scene in it. So, sometimes, and you'll sit, and straight up, I've slipped too. So I'm going to give myself a push. I try to do things to put in roadblocks and warnings, but I do slip sometimes. So on this criticism Gemini gives, I'm going to say I neither pass nor fail. I'm going to give myself on that. All right. This next one, I couldn't believe Gemini put it in, but I'm absolutely guilty of this one. overly self-referential and inside joke heavy content. While a creator's community is a good thing, some channels become so focused on their own inside jokes, memes, and running gags that it becomes impenetrable for new viewers. The videos are filled with references to past videos, specific phrases, or characters that only long-term subscribers would understand. Bring on the filthy. This creates a barrier to entry that can feel exclusionary. I'm guilty of this. I admit it.
I am too.
But
I think it does. Look, if you have longtime viewers,
Yeah.
you are building. That's how you build a community, because
Yeah.
people know these things. Like, look, I fell asleep on a stream. I was on an 8-hour stream once. We were drinking, and when it was over, I was so tired. I just leaned back and completely fell asleep. And I was live sleeping for 5 hours. That happened like 4 years ago.
Sleepwatch.
People have made memes and all that. I will never stop referencing that
I wonder if
because
people,
it's hilarious.
would check back in.
I had all kind of people. The thing was, I apparently didn't move, and that was disconcerting.
Yeah.
is Rob alive? All right. Then there's this one. I'm actually surprised this one got on the list. Let's play style movie commentary.
Uh-oh.
This trend involves a creator watching a movie for the first time on the screen, often with their webcam feed in the corner and providing a constant stream of commentary. This is different from a well-edited video essay or review. The commentary is often unscripted, rambling, and consists of surface-level observations. Oh, look at that shot. Or, I can't believe he just did that. It's more of a live stream Twitch style format that doesn't translate well into polished, informative video. Now, I don't do this, but I have experimented with it. Like back in the Collider days, we would do these, we would call them movie commentaries. And like, so for example, me, and I think
I've done them with you.
you've been on them with me. I remember this one, me, Ellis, Harloff, and Schnepp did a Man of Steel one and stuff like that. I think there's a place for it. Maybe there are some places that overdo it, but
I think it works best if it's a classic movie that everybody knows.
yeah.
Like if you sit down with 4 people and talk about Back to the Future, everyone's seen Back to the Future a million times, but it's interesting to hear other people's analysis of it. You know what it is? It's like an audio commentary on a disc, John.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a director talking about a movie that they've made, or you have real film critics who have watched a film 50 times and they know everything about it, like somebody like a Kim Newman or a Tim Lucas doing audio commentaries is fascinating, especially because they've done research before. But if you're watching a movie for the very first time, worthless. Absolutely worthless.
Somebody in the live chat, Stephen Alte, wrote, I can't stand the first time watch videos, and it's clearly not their first time watching.
Horrible.
You can see through those.
That drives me crazy. Like I'll come along across the channel. I'm making a scenario up here. Okay. So if this has any similarity to a video I'm not referencing, I'm making this up off the top of my head. Like I come across a channel where clearly this is a sci-fi movie nut. And it's my first time watching Empire Strikes Back. Fuck you. This is not your first time watching Empire Strikes Back. I mean, so
Today.
In tiny font today.
Death Mark's not an easy thing to live with,
That
Frollo.
drives me crazy.
You're a good fighter.
Going back to the movie reaction thing, right? I've come across some movie reactions where it's like they watched this trailer about 8 times already. You can totally tell. Like this is clearly not their first
First of
time
all,
watching the trailer.
here's the thing. The only people that I believe when they're doing this is if they don't say a word. Their eyes are wide as saucers and they'll watch the trailer.
That's me and why I stopped doing them.
Yeah, and then when it's over, they offer their commentary. But when somebody is talking while they're watching something, I'm like, you're lying. You are lying to me. My whole thing is I want authenticity from you. And if you're going to respond to a trailer, don't say a word. Let me just look in your eyes and see if you respond. If you chuckle.
Look into my
eyes. Little good Canadian Brian Adams there for you.
Yeah.
Listen, you know what I have experimented with? And I
I
liked
want to hear
it.
this.
When I was in college,
Let me get my drink.
One time.
one time at
Band
band camp, I experimented with this format, and I don't know if I came up with it or if it was around before. I don't know. But where instead of doing a trailer reaction, I would do, I think what I called it was a trailer breakdown, where I clearly watched the trailer a bunch of times. And then what I would do is, okay, so let's play the trailer. And like we play the first 5 or 10 seconds, stop. Okay, this is what I'm gleaning out of this at this point. We're seeing this and this. Now, I've thought about this, and I think maybe that being in that spot in the trailer here might mean this and blah, blah, blah. We're going to have to kind of really sing. Okay, now let's move on to the next little bit and then play the next 15 seconds. Say, okay, 3 really interesting things jump out at me about this section. Like, so I have watched the trailer several times already, and we do a breakdown.
Yeah.
I think people like that.
But that's honest.
Right.
People know what they're getting. You tune in, you're going to watch it together, we're going to break it down and talk about it. You're not lying to them, and it's authentic.
Yeah. I think the only reason I stopped is because it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And we do a lot. We work a lot of hours to make the show, but I don't know, maybe I'll go back to trying that sometime. I don't know. Listen, let me ask you guys in the live chat. Are there any other irritating trends that you guys see in that maybe it's one that I do? Like I said, I think I've been guilty of several of these ones that Gemini spit out at me. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that.
Well, next time you should ask Gemini, what are the most annoying things John Campea does on his show?
Oh, by the way, somebody's saying you're basically just doing what New Rockstars does. I did it. I believe I did it before New Rockstars existed. So, and I'm not saying they ripped me off, not at all. But I'm saying I was toying with stuff like that, like even in the movie blog days. So, I mean, I did it long before New Rockstars even
But you
existed.
also don't approach the camera like you're about to crawl through it. So it's a little different stylized.
I feel like asking Grok what are the most annoying things I do
Oh,
on
God.
YouTube.
All right.
Sleep for
Guys,
5 hours.
whatever you think about all this, sleep on the stream, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, one of the more unexpected things that they announced to us at CinemaCon was an Anaconda movie.
Yes.
Paul Rudd and Jack Black got on screen and said, we're doing an Anaconda movie. And in my best Chris Carr, for why was the thought that came to my head.
Inside joke.
There it is. Inside references, the impenetrable community.
Who's Chris Carr?
For what? I'm like, okay, I love Jack Black and I love Paul Rudd. But really? Anaconda? And I've seriously completely put it out of my head. They really didn't tell us much about it. They didn't have anything to show us except Jack Black and Paul Rudd talking to the CinemaCon audience. And I'm like, no. So I just literally put it out of my head and I haven't given it another thought. And then the trailer drops today. And I gotta say, it is not what I thought it was going to be. The premise, for those of you who haven't seen the trailer yet, is 2 guys, their all-time favorite movie is Anaconda. And it's 2 guys deciding they want to remake Anaconda. So they go to the jungle to do it, but their trained snake dies. And now they're being hunted by a real monstrous anaconda in the jungle. It is absolutely and completely Tropic Thunder. I mean, I'm watching this, I'm thinking this is a different variation of Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, and I thought Jumanji a little bit too.
Yeah, little
The
Jumanji,
recreation
little Tropic Thunder, of which Jack Black was also in.
Sure.
I'll tell you what, though, whereas at CinemaCon, I'm like, and I've totally put out of my head. Is this Shakespeare? No. But I'd be lying to you guys if I didn't tell you, okay, now I want to see this movie. I actually thought it was pretty good. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to check it out.
I chuckled. I thought it was pretty funny. Now,
Yeah.
the question, this is going to seem odd, but the question that I had about the movie is, are Jack Black and Paul Rudd playing themselves?
No,
Like,
because remember they have names. They call each other. They have.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
They do. Good. Because when I was watching it, I thought,
Because I don't think Jack Black and Paul Rudd would be going to a bank looking for a $2 million loan and only qualify for a $9,000
it was pretty funny, though. I mean, I really thought this trailer was good. And again, I didn't expect it to be this. I hope they do crazy things. Like, I'd love to see Jennifer or J-Law,
Jennifer Lawrence?
No, not Jennifer.
Jennifer Lopez?
Show
J-Lo.
up. J-Lo show up in the movie somehow. I don't know how. Like maybe
they're probably going to sneak a cameo or two in there.
Maybe you got to have cameos, and I know they'll keep them secret. But
it could be like on the TV. They love it so much they're watching.
It was just. But if you're going to make another Anaconda movie, why not? And I love the fact that they used "Baby Got Back" Mix-a-Lot in the my Anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hon.
Yeah,
you can do side bends or sit-ups, but
me.
please don't lose that butt. The what?
This part killed me right here. This was very Tropic Thunder.
Oh, that was so funny.
But I remember thinking, my first thought was, they just spoiled that Jack Black dies in it.
I know. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, but then of
what's
course,
on my head? Just keep. It's a long
Just
story.
run.
Just run.
It's a long story.
I just hope there's more of that in the movie. I hope this isn't showing the best beats, and then it's just kind of a dud out.
It's pretty good though.
Which is true of like any comedy, right? Like any comedy trailer, if it looks really great, you're now just hoping, I hope those weren't the funniest jokes.
Right.
I mean, I never thought the idea of sweeting something would come back. The sweeted version of whatever. And
Right.
This is the sweeted
It's very
version
meta.
of Anaconda. It's so
like,
meta.
It's like they're gonna. So at first I'm like, this is weird. They're doing a reboot of Anaconda, but these guys are typically like comedy oriented. And then I realized what they were doing. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, it looks great to me.
You know what? I read one comment saying, I don't know, that CG snake, you can kind of tell it's CG. And you know what? I thought about that for a second. In this kind of movie,
Yeah, I don't know that it matters.
I don't know that that's a bad thing.
I think it is even better.
Yeah,
Like
it
it's like you're running from the.
Look, it didn't look that great in the original
That's what I
Anaconda.
mean.
That's
no,
the whole
it
point.
certainly did not look all that great
That's
in
the
the
whole
original
point.
anyway. So yeah, anyway, guys, question is for you. Come back later for our total first watch reaction of the Anaconda trailer. No, what do you think about this Anaconda trailer? Listen, I admit I had completely dismissed this movie out of my head. Completely dismissed it. Now I'm kind of looking forward to it. I don't know, whatever you guys thought about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to play a little round of verses. The way verses works, of course, is I jump on the community tab and we ask you guys submit some versus scenarios. Maybe I don't know, this movie versus that movie, or this actor's performance in this movie versus the same actor's performance in another movie. Whatever it is, one thing versus the other, and then Rob and I will adjudicate your scenario.
Great word.
A bunch of you guys sent a whole bunch of them in. We've picked out a few. Jonathan's got them. So Jonathan, what we got up first?
Okay, first verses. We'll start with you, John. When is it Mr. Savagem or Mrs. Avagem? I don't know, but Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men versus Christoph Waltz in Glorious Bastards. Why did he do this to us?
Why do you hate me?
Yeah, it's.
First of all, 2 Academy Award performances, 2 all-time great performances. Friendo.
It's a great versus. Great question.
Okay. Holy crap. They both won Academy Awards for those roles. My God. All right. I'm going to say Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards. And the only reason I'm going to give it the slight edge over Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men is the character itself was given a wider spectrum to work within.
Yeah.
Right? Listen, the opening scene alone, where he comes in and he's just, he's magnanimous. He's like super friendly. It's like, oh yeah, I'm one of the better Nazis.
Monsieur L'Appetit.
He's like, I'm just good at what I do. I don't believe in all this stuff.
He's suave. He's charming. And then there are moments when the real demon comes out, right? And there are moments that he's strong and moments that he's quivering. And I'm going to give it to Christoph Waltz for Inglourious Bastards simply because they gave him a wider spectrum to play. Both all-time great performances. I'm going to give the nod to Christoph Waltz here. Rob, what about you?
I totally agree with you. I mean, this is a tough one because Javier Bardem is one of the most chilling heavies in any movie ever.
Oh.
In No Country for Old Men, which I recently rewatched.
I mean,
And
that
how
seemed
good
the
was he in F1? He was even
Oh,
great in
yeah.
F1.
oh, he's
right?
I love Javier Bardem. I really do.
He should have got an Oscar nomination for Dune 2. Just saying, he should have got an Oscar nomination for Dune 2.
And you know what? The Counselor. Just saying.
Again with the
I'm
Counselor.
telling you, I will die on that hill. But I'm like with you. Christoph Waltz is so wildly entertaining in that role.
I love
And he does a
Rhodes.
lot of different things. He puts a smile on your face. Javier Bardem is literally scary.
Yeah.
He's
If
going
he
to
wants
blow
to be.
someone's brains out, in that role. And I wouldn't
does.
call it as fun. I mean, it is fun in a certain way. But Christoph Waltz, like you said, he's just got a much wider range to play.
All right. By the way, we're not saying Christoph Waltz is a better actor
No,
than Javier
we
Bardem.
just-
We're talking about the specific
This is versus.
role. This is versus.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. Next up, versus Rob. You're next, and we hear from Joshua, who says "Wicked for Good" versus Avatar: Fire and Ash, which has the better chance of getting nominated for Best Picture.
Well, I know it's the second half of one story, but I'm going with Avatar: Fire and Ash. You know why? Because you never bet against Jimmy C. Ever. And I think you got Mordor, Na'vi. Your God has no dominion here. All I know is I am wound up and excited to see. And, Wicked for Good's going to be good. And I'm sure, you know what? They're both probably going to get nominated. 10 movies, even though One Battle After Another looks like it's probably going to win Best Picture. But still, I'm going to give the edge to Avatar: Fire and Ash.
All right. Okay, so they did get nominated. Wicked, the original Wicked, got nominated for Best Picture. Avatar 2, Fire and Ash got nominated for Best Picture.
You mean Avatar: Way of Water?
Avatar 2, Way of Water, yes. Nominated for Best Picture, as did the first Avatar. Look, I'm going to say that I think they're both going to get nominated. But if somebody whispered in my ear from the future, only one of them gets nominated, I would say I'm going to believe it's going to be Wicked for Good. We've had 2 Avatars. They're great. I really do enjoy them.
But it's going to be the Return of the King of the Avatar franchise.
I hope it does. And listen, I hope it's the best
They're
one
going to
yet.
give Jimmy C all the awards
It
now.
can't be because there's like 3 more after this.
But-
Yeah, but that's,
But Wicked
maybe.
for Good, I just have a feeling it's just positioned better right now. So again, for the record, I think both will get nominated. I also, for the record, don't think either will win, having not seen either of them yet. But again, if somebody from the future whispered to me only one made it, I'm going to guess right now it's going to be Wicked for Good. So I'll say Wicked for Good. All right, what's next?
Okay, next up, back to you, John. Versus here. To Akash 4 says Watts Spider-Man trilogy versus Raimi Spider-Man trilogy.
Okay. Now, let me say this for. Okay, you know what? I'll just give the answer first. John Watts' Spider-Man trilogy. I'm going to go that one. Now, that being said, I think the single best movie out of the 6 is a Sam Raimi one, which is Spider-Man 2, which
Yep.
is still in the conversation with a lot of people as maybe the greatest comic book movie ever made. And you have those discussions in a lot of movie-loving circles, and it'll get some #1 votes, that one. So I think the single best movie out of all 6 is a Sam Raimi one. And his first Spider-Man movie is great too. But I'm going to give it to the John Watts trilogy because it has an insane consistency, right? Like the quality level of all 3 of those movies. I do like one a little bit better than the other 2, but generally speaking, it's just all high. Spider-Man 2 may be up here, but all 3 of John Watts's were like all just super high. Spider-Man 1, Sam Raimi's was very good, but you got Spider-Man 3. And that kind of cancels out the advantage of Spider-Man 2. So it's definitely a Sophie's choice here. But I'll say if you're talking about the overall package of the trilogy, I'm going to go with John Watts' Spider-Man films. Rob, what about you?
I have to agree with you.
Really?
And
I thought you would go the other way.
No, but you know why? Because I'm mixed. I loved Spider-Man 2, but Spider-Man 1 is, I love the first half of it. I don't so much love the second half of it because it kind of gets a little goofy and generic. And I think Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is a little kind of goofy, but it's Spider-Man 3 that does it for me. It's all over the place. And I love Thomas Hayden Church as the Sandman.
Oh, I love Thomas Hayden Church.
I love, but the movie is all over the place. Whereas Spider-Man No Way Home. Look, the fact that John Watts poached Tobey Maguire, and the fact that he did that was building on all three movies. And I thought it was, when I watched Spider-Man, I kind of felt it wasn't the same as watching the first Avengers movie, where I kept sitting in the theater going, I can't believe I'm watching an actual Avengers movie. But I did kind of feel that way watching all three of these Spider-Men together. I'm like, I can't believe they've done this. And that alone, and that sense of awe and wonder, and all the villains that they put back together, and I'm like, this is amazing. So that third movie clinches the deal for me.
All right, what's next?
Okay, moving on. Was that our second or was that our third? Let's find out here.
I think that was our third.
So we're going to go over to Rob here. So yes. So actually, we'll go back to John here. When it says Brandon DeCross says, Will Ferrell in Zoolander versus Ben Stiller in Dodgeball. I already know mine on that.
Okay, first of all, I love both of these movies so deeply and so passionately. You know, the keyboard necktie. I created it. I created it. Todd. It's great, and nobody makes me bleed my own blood. There's a good energy in the gym today. I love both of these characters. I love both of their performances in it. I think those characters are key to each of those movies working as well as they do and being as funny as they are. But I gotta go Mugatu. I gotta go Will Ferrell in Zoolander. I mean, it's just like so hot right now. Hansel, so hot right now. Hansel. Derelict. The wretches of the, oh my God, he's just so good in it. Listen, I'll go one step further. I think his portrayal as Mugatu, even though it is a smaller supporting role, obviously Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller in it, I think it's one of the greatest performances in a comedy ever. So I love Ben Stiller in Dodgeball, but I'm going to go with the Will Ferrell in Zoolander. Rob, what about you?
Well, John, I don't have a choice on this one. I, too, am going with Will Ferrell as Mugatu because Mugatu is a Star Trek reference.
I didn't know that.
Mugatu is the goofiest creature to ever appear in the original Star Trek series. It was basically a white ape with a unicorn horn.
Yeah, I remember. Was its name Mugatu?
Mugatu was the name of the creature.
I had no idea.
And it's in the Star Trek episode A Private Little War from the second season because Ben Stiller's production company is called Red Hour Productions, which is also a Star Trek reference to a first season Star Trek episode called Return of the Archons.
Okay.
The Red Hour comes
I know that one.
In here for the festival, yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry to bring up Star Trek like this twice in one show.
But had we done a Zoolander watch along, this is the kind of commentary.
This is the kind of commentary you would get.
Yeah.
And Mugatu, there is multiple Mugatu action figures from the Star Trek series. You can get a little one, and you can get a big plushy one if you want to look into the Playmates series from the 90s.
All right.
So you go, Ben Stiller.
What's next?
Okay, I think our next one is our final one. Going back to you, John. In Versus, Zentrack says Robert Pattinson as the Batman versus David Cornsweet as Superman.
Oh my God. Okay, look. If the question was straight up, who's the better overall actor? It's Robert Pattinson. I'm not that David Cornsweet isn't great and can't build the kind of resume that Robert Pattinson has, but I would just say Robert Pattinson right now. I love the character, this particular iteration of Batman that Robert Pattinson did. Very different from all the other ones, yet still distinctly Batman. It was great. But I'm going to go David Cornsweet as Superman because he just, in a way that maybe even more so than my favorite Superman, Henry Cavill, really manifested and embodied Superman the way most people always think of him and thought of him. One of the things I love about Henry Cavill's Superman, and maybe why it's my favorite, is that he gave us a different vision of Superman, and I loved it, and that's why it's my favorite Superman film of all time. But David Cornsweet really was able to bring to life that iteration of Superman in such a way that was just made you feel a lot of joy. You know, a lot of people, like after Henry's, oh, why is Superman so dark? I want a hopeful Superman. I want a happy Superman. It's like, okay, whatever. But David Cornswet found a way to actually do it and do it really well. So in the specific context of Robert Pattinson as Batman or David Cornswet as Superman, I'm going to go with David Cornswet as Superman. Rob, what about you?
I'm going to agree with you. I like Pattinson playing this haunted young Batman, but I'll tell you something. I think it was even more so this in the trailer. There is one word, there's actually two words, that David Cornswet said, and I've never heard in my mind how I've thought about what Superman would sound like ever since I was a little kid. I've never quite heard the perfect Superman voice ever, at least the way. I mean, I love Christopher Reeve, but it was the moment where they sit down to do the interview. And
Ms.
David
Lane.
that's it.
Is that the line?
That's the line. Just the way he said, because he turns, she goes, I want to interview you as Superman. I mean, and when he got into Superman mode and he said, Miss Lane, the way he said Miss Lane, I'm like, that's how Superman, for the very first time in my entire life, with anybody portraying Superman, the way he went into that and did that voice, I'm like, and I don't even know. I think they changed it from I'm talking about the first trailer I saw that they bring up that interview scene.
Yeah.
When he says it and goes into it, that to me was the perfect Superman voice ever. Better than any animated show, better than any. Well, and by the way, I think he's great, but it was only that one time because he was getting into Superman mode. And I was like, I know it's a weird little thing, but when I heard him say that, I'm like, that's Superman. That is, because that's when he's sitting down to be Superman. I'm like, that's it, man. You nailed it.
You know, you brought up something. I'm going to say something very unpopular. Very unpopular. Whereas you got guys like Mark Hamill's Joker and, I'm freezing on the name of the guy who did the voice of Batman, who passed away recently.
Kevin.
Yeah. Kevin
Connolly?
Conroy.
Conroy, that was it. Well, had very distinct, like wonderful Batman. Almost every Superman animated iteration I've seen has had a very generic voice. Whereas like they always do such a great job. Now, granted, Joker is kind of easier, but even like the voice of Bruce, like it's got a fingerprint to it. You know what I mean? Whereas all the Superman, not criticizing the shows overall, I'm just saying the voices for Superman have always been more generic. Whereas David Cornswet, I think like he really sounds like Superman to me.
I totally agree with you. But that was when the thing about, I'll tell you something else too, is he got to play all kinds of different colors in terms of his emotions and his feelings, and he was all over the place. Whereas, like, as much as I think Henry Cavill physically embodied almost the perfect Superman, he didn't get to play enough of the colors of Superman's character. It was all kind of on a certain level. He didn't get to be funny. Like when Cornswet does that moment and he's playing around with Lois and they're playful and everything, when he sits down, he goes, okay, Cronkite, sit on down.
Great.
And he goes from Cronkite into this Miss Lane. That Henry Cavill never got to do that.
He was never given a chance.
No, that's what I mean. He was never given a chance to do that just because the way the character was portrayed. But Superman has to be that guy. And the fact that he has to, because he's playing the bumbling Clark, he's playing he's an actor. Superman's an actor, and they've always played him too earnest. He only gets to do the one note thing, but Cornswet was all over the place in a great way.
All right, guys, that will wrap up this session of Versus. How would you adjudicate each one of those scenarios? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. By the way, side note, I just had to look this up because I know it wasn't earlier. I saw somebody live just saying, hey, what are the reviews for him like? So I'm like, well, I went and checked.
Oh.
Reviews first public screening start in 24 hours. Still no reviews out. That's a little bit of a red flag. I don't know. Maybe it'll be great. But a little bit of a red flag. They're about 24 hours away from this movie coming out. And so far, no reviews yet. But okay. Anyway. All right, guys, with all that down, let's move on to this, shall we? What are we moving on to? Oh, yes, we're moving on to this. The biggest smash hit, original English language show that Netflix has ever done is not Stranger Things. It's season 1 of Wednesday.
Oh,
it's a huge, massive hit for them. The Wednesday Wocast was just recently a sponsor of ours as well. And it was just such, I thought it was a bad idea to make that show initially, but they put such uniqueness into it. They cast it perfectly. And it became a massive cultural phenomenon and just really took off. How would season 2 do? Well, apparently not nearly as good, yet still amazing. All right. So the headline reads like this. You've probably seen some of these around. Netflix's #1 show just suffered a huge 43% drop in viewership, but fans can't agree why. Now, look, I want to make sure before we go into anything else here, we understand this show, the second season, is still by every metric a hit. I was reading that season 2 is already the 10th highest viewed season of original shows that they've had on Netflix. Number 10. And that's after suffering a massive decline. It's still number 10. So whatever is being said out there, reject the narrative that all of a sudden that Wednesday season 2 is a flop. It is absolutely not. It's huge. All right. That being said, it is also, though, true that it has suffered a big decline. For example, they broke Wednesday into 2 parts, which has worked very well for them with other series. Whereas part 1 that they put out for season 2 got about 50 million views. When they debuted the second part, it was like 28 million views. It declined by 43%. And The Wrap is now saying that the Netflix season 1 holds the Netflix's most watched English language show with 252.1 million views. Whereas season 2 now has an accumulated 95.4 million views to date and is projected to end somewhere between 110 to 135 million views. That's literally like a 50% drop. That's a 50% drop. And by the way, the audience scores for season 2 are every bit as good as season 1. Like, they're not the highest, they're in the 80s, but they're every bit as good as season 1. And that has, kind of spurred the conversation about why did this thing have such a drop off after the hit of season 1? Now, I'm not coming up with any of these reasons myself. These are reasons I see being discussed online. I think some of them are pretty good. One of them is this: time between seasons. I mean, I read one writer put it this way. It's bad enough when we live in an era right now where you're having 3 years in between seasons of a show. But they point out, particularly when your show is generally geared towards a younger audience. Not saying that Wednesday is made for children, but I think we all agree that Wednesday is kind of geared toward a little bit of a younger audience. It's good for everybody, but geared towards a younger audience. And their argument was like, when you're a show that's gearing towards a younger audience, you can't have a 3-year gap in between things. You just can't do that.
Your audience has graduated from high school.
Yeah, your audience started as freshmen, and now they're getting ready for prom. Yeah. Okay, they're getting ready for grad. And so a lot
I was a virgin when this show started.
A lot of things can change.
Virgin.
So that's a big one. Well, another reason some people are giving is the split season format. I don't know that I agree with that, because we've seen them experiment on that with other shows to great effect. For example, the last season of Stranger Things, if memory serves me right, they broke it up and the second part launched to bigger numbers than the first part did. I know the same thing happened when they did Lucifer, the final season of Lucifer, they did that way. So I know maybe because it's a skewing younger audience, maybe the split does have something to do with it, but so far, the track record of Netflix splitting seasons up has done nothing but help the show. So there's that. The other one is interesting, and I dismissed it at first, but the more I think about it, there might be something to it. A couple of outlets are pointing out the fact that the first season of Wednesday had a massive viral moment with the Wednesday dance.
The Goo Goo Mock dance.
Yep. It permeated everything in our pop culture. Saturday Night Live was doing skits about it. It was being mimicked and mocked in television commercials and all that. It was a huge thing. There was no TikTok viral moment of season 2. So, I mean, that's a great observation. How much of an impact that actually had in Wednesday losing half of its viewership or not, I don't know, but it's an interesting observation. Again, I want to make sure everybody understands Wednesday season 2 is still an undeniable smash hit. It's just that it dropped in half from the first one. Anyway, Rob, you see these numbers. It's still a generally liked show. It didn't seem to have a massive drop off in viewer ratings or viewer rating scores or anything like that. What would you think? Why do you think it had such a big drop off from the first season? Any of the ones that we've already mentioned? Do you have some others that you think should be considered? What do you think?
Well, I do think that it was a zeitgeist show. When Wednesday first came on, people were a little dubious about it. The combination of Tim Burton, Jenna Ortega, her rising star, reaching its zenith on the show. But the Goo Goo Mock dance was big. But I would also say this. The show does not have a driving narrative the way, say, the Red Wedding on Game of Thrones did. When you're watching Wednesday, it's more of a hang, it's more of a feeling, it's more of a vibe. People like descending into that world.
Well, there's also a big mystery in it too.
There is, but that it's. I don't think people are. I don't think it's a narratively driven. Like, look, people have to tune into Alien Earth to find out what the hell happened this week. Is our little Oculus and the sheep going to do something bad? Like, what's going on?
Bad.
You haven't seen the new episode?
No, I haven't seen the new episode yet. But what I mean is, I don't think Wednesday is the kind of show that has captured people's imaginations. They love it, they enjoy watching it, and Jenna Ortega is great in it. But they're not hanging on the plot twists, even in the mystery. You know, we'll get to it. It's a good show. I like it. But it's not driving interest. And it's certainly not part of the zeitgeist that everybody wants to be a part of it so they can talk about it the way it was in the first season. And I think that that's just a function of what the show is. So I think like a movie like The Force Awakens that made $2 billion because Star Wars hadn't been seen in a while, that was it created an expectation that wasn't realistic. Hence, The Last Jedi was only 1.3 billion. So I think that Wednesday had.
I love that we're using the word "only." The film that made 1.3
I know, but
billion.
I was using something high numbers, and it creates an unrealistic expectation as to what it is. So to me, the story shouldn't be, how Wednesday's numbers dropped. The story should be that Wednesday is still doing well. If you're comparing it to the first season, they might wonder where the viewership went, and that's why we're talking about it. But I think people have unrealistic expectations because in this day and age, it's really hard to keep the zeitgeist of a show. People aren't going to talk about it forever. And when you have lost the zeitgeist after 3 years, you can't get it back.
Right.
That moment's gone.
Well, guys, the question is for you. Listen, Wednesday season 2 is still a big numbers hit. Make no mistake about it. But it has had a significant drop. What would you attribute that to? I mean, the audiences still seem to like it. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, we've got a little movie called Avengers Doomsday coming out. And of course, we had the infamous chair watch. 9 hours of watching a camera slowly pan by chairs that literally could have been done in 5 minutes, conveying the exact same information. But despite whatever the butt failure that chair watch was, and there'll probably be a second one of the names that was not on there is Elizabeth Olsen. And, Elizabeth Olsen has talked. She came out flat out and said, listen, anybody who's talking about it, I'm not in the new Avengers movies. Maybe she's telling the truth. Maybe she's not. There've been a lot of theories. But there is a report. We can even put this one under the rumor mill.
I love rumors.
We'll put this one firmer. We'll put this one firmly under the rumor mill, because if you guys read the news feeds like I do, you've probably seen several outlets running with this today, and it's worth talking about. There is a rumor/report going around that Elizabeth Olsen is not only returning to play Scarlet Witch, but they'll be taking a little bit from a very famous comic storyline where she will be part of a Genoshan royal family of herself, her father Magneto, Pietro, Polaris, whatever. The report comes like this. This comes us from the director writes, Alex Perez noted a rumor he had heard that a Wanda Maximoff variant will appear in Avengers Doomsday, hailing from the X-Men universe that we saw in the post-credit scene of the Marvels. Supposedly, on this Earth, Magneto will be finally ruling Genosha with a royal family that includes himself, Wanda, Pietro, aka Quicksilver, and Polaris, all of whom are his children. In an unofficial capacity, I heard we'd be getting a Wanda variant from the X-Men universe that we'll see in Avengers Doomsday, which is a universe where Magneto is finally ruling Genosha as he had always pictured it, and we'd have like a royal family type of situation with Eric, Pietro, Wanda, and Polaris, and there again is a House of M graphic and imagery that we see coming in there. All right. Let's unpack this a little bit, shall we? Again, we are filing this one under the rumor mill. All right. Just so we understand. This did not come from Kevin Feige. This did not come from Variety. But listen, you remember, Rob, when those supposed concept art sketches for Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars came out?
They were dope.
They were pretty damn good. How authentic they were is still up for debate, but they were pretty damn good. They were pretty exciting. And we got a glimpse of Scarlet Witch being in there. Now, we keep in mind of all of this that Elizabeth Olsen herself has said that she's not come back. At least not now. She never ruled it out forever, but she said, I'm not coming back for the Avengers films. We've heard that before from other actors, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. This is a multiversal story. Let me start by talking about why this could have some actual facts behind it, maybe. One, this rumor fits in with the overall story narrative we are getting from what Avengers Doomsday is apparently going to be about. The disparate worlds, the incursions, all that kind of stuff, having something like that, this big iconic moment. Hey, the Russo brothers love drawing on big iconic moments from comic books and adapting them and bringing them in for their own purposes. We know that Ian McKellen is coming back to play Magneto. It would be a shame not to have Magneto and his daughter appear together again in it. So that is working in its favor. And just the damn cool factor of it. Like, I'm sorry, that's a family you don't mess with. Papa Magneto, Pietro, who will kill your army before they even blink. Scarlet Witch will just change the reality if she needs to. And Polaris, which is basically a mini Magneto, who is also portrayed as having unscalable power. So that would just have a damn cool factor to it. That would be delicious. Interestingly, nothing in the report says which Quicksilver would it be. Would it be the Aaron Taylor Johnson Quicksilver that we saw in Ultron? Or would it be the Emmy Award winner who played
Aaron
not Aaron Taylor
Evan
Johnson.
Peters.
Evan Peters. Or would it be the Evan Peters Quicksilver that we got in the X-Men films? Could be either one of them. And then what kind of iteration do we get of Polaris? Which would be interesting too. All right. So that's why those are the reasons why I would skew to thinking, hey, maybe this could be real. On the reasons why I would have my doubts, well, I'd start with Elizabeth Olsen again, saying she was done. Also, it seems to me, and I could be wrong about this, this is just me as a fan, if you were going to have Elizabeth Olsen coming back and making an appearance, Agatha seemed the place to do it. They almost even kind of teased that a lot of people thought we were going to get it. So that seemed like it would be the place to do it. The fact that we never did maybe kind of leans away from this. But the other reason, Rob, is how much can you put into one movie? Are you going to actually try to incorporate a House of M sort of storyline into this? I mean, this is already a very busy movie. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying it's already a very, very lot of things on the agenda list here to get done in this movie. So I'm not sure. Rob, let me throw it to you. Why should we believe this rumor? Why should we not? And in your heart of hearts, Rob, do you hope this is real or not? What do you think?
I think it's real. I think Wanda Maximoff is going to be in this movie, but is not going to be played by Elizabeth Olsen. And I'll tell you why. Got to go with me on this. In the Marvel Universe, in the MCU, the only time that we've seen somebody from the Fox X-Men universe come over into something the MCU showed us for the first time was in Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, okay.
Because they said that the Ralph Boner situation wasn't actually real. So that's where it gets a little nebulous. But Patrick Stewart as Professor X was shown as a variant so you had a variant of Black Bolt, but so I could sit there and go, if you're going to show me so Quicksilver there's already a Quicksilver in the X-Men universe.
Oh,
but I mean
yes,
that Quicksilver was already, there was a little business between Fassbender and him where they alluded to the fact that he was the father.
Right.
They did not allude to the fact that there is a sister out there. But if he was the father, we just don't know that. So I would think it's an opportunity to cast a new actress to play the Scarlet Witch of what the X-Men, if the X-Men universe ever showed us Scarlet Witch, we would have had a different actress. So it makes sense that Aaron Taylor Johnson is not going to be, because that's not really Magneto's son.
Right.
Whereas Evan Peters is the son. And then when, of course, Monica Rambeau met Beast, it was the Kelsey Grammer Beast from that X-Men universe. So it established that the Fox X-Men universe is its own deal. And since they've already brought, this is so convoluted, and since they already brought Tobey Maguire and Homeboy from the Amazing Spider-Man, it set up kind of a precedent into how the rules work of who's a variant and who isn't. So in order to bring Wanda Maximoff, if she truly is in Genosha and she truly is part of the royal family and Ian McKellen is the leader of Genosha, you would have to have a different actress play Wanda Maximoff. Otherwise, it would kind of violate the rules that they've set up already.
But I'm gonna say this though. Have they actually established rules yet? Because even in the multiversal saga, we've had 5 varying different explanations about what multiverse is and isn't.
Of course, but in terms of who they've shown, if Ralph Boner turned out to really be Quicksilver, if Evan Peters was actually Quicksilver, I would have said, you know what? Maybe she would be in this movie. But they didn't. They played coy and they did that weird Ralph Boner thing.
It was like
Remember, it's a different universe now.
I know, but they're saying this is the Fox universe. They're making a specific...
No. This one is saying it's the X-Men universe that we saw at the end of the Marvels, which is not necessarily the Fox universe.
But I think it is. Because they're bringing all that... I think that is because you kind of have to say... I mean, you have to... I'm just going by in my own head. If I was in my backyard talking with... like Sean Flaherty about comic books when I was 7. This is the conversation we would be having. And I'm like, but there are rules, man. So I think that if there is, because you've got a show, we haven't seen really Polaris yet either.
Right.
So
Except in, what was that X-Men, that offshoot X-Men, The Gifted?
Yeah. Well, they
had a Polaris in there, but that doesn't count.
Unless they brought that actress back to play.
Bring her in.
Because they did bring, you did have Homeboy come back playing Black Bolt in.
Yep.
So in from that god-awful Inhuman show. So I'm not saying these rules are set in stone, but for me, at any rate, it would suddenly make things weird, because if you say Elizabeth Olsen is the sister of Evan Peters, well, poor Aaron Taylor Johnson. What about, is it the same variants? I don't know.
All right, but that's all predicated on the assumption that the universe we saw at the end of the Marvels in the post-credit scene is the same Fox universe that we had, and I don't think it is. See, the big thing, if it isn't, and you can say it isn't, because the Wolverine that appears in Deadpool and Wolverine isn't the same Wolverine that is from the Logan X-Men universe. Right, we saw like 6 different
So
variations
that's a different
of that
thing.
Wolverine.
So that also throws my rule, but that movie is an outlier, so it doesn't count.
But we had again, so we'll see where it goes.
Where I'm standing now is I believe that Wanda Maximoff shows up on Genosha, is the sister of Evan Peters, but is not going to be played by Elizabeth Olsen. That's
Mary
right.
Kate Olsen, Ashley Olsen.
Well, this leads into a perfect segment. Our top 10 actresses who could play.
Here we go. You know what?
Yeah.
That's going to be a topic we do tomorrow. Thank you, Google Gemini.
Because I do think that she is a different Wanda Maximoff. She is not Magneto's daughter.
All right.
Is this like Mari Povich? What's going on here?
You are not the daughter.
He's like, yeah.
Again, with them having so many universes and so many worlds and so many whatever, I mean, who knows what they're going to do. But I know I would be excited to see it. Whether the validity of this, we'll find out how actual real this is, but we'll see. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this rumor and report going around that we're going to see Scarlet Witch back as a part of the Genosha royal family with her father, Magneto, and her sister, Polaris, her brother, Pietro? Whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, it's time for us to move on and start taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we got a couple things to do. First of all, we're going to say good afternoon to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Thanks for being here, sir.
John, during the show, I did ask Grok, what are the 10 most annoying things YouTuber Robert Meyer Burnett does? And it gave me a very extensive list, which I will not share with you now.
Give him 30.
But,
Gave him 30 when I asked for 10.
number 3 was overly negative and hyperbolic rants about modern Star Trek. So, Grok sees me.
You know why I don't
I feel
believe you?
seen.
Because you said it was number 3. That's why I don't believe you.
Grok doesn't get everything right.
That's true. All right, man. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. And of course, the other thing we got to do here is we're going to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. Look, you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right actually means you win. And with football back, there is no better time to get in on the action. You guys know I've been using PrizePicks for a while now, and it's honestly the most fun I've had engaging with the new football season already. For example, this weekend, I had Josh Allen throwing for more than 270 passing yards and Baker Mayfield having more than 2.5 passing touchdowns, and boom, I won on both. Building your lineups on PrizePicks is fast, simple, and honestly extremely fun. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and if you're right, you win. What's even better is that PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still win even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Plus, they've even got this thing called injury reboots, so if a player goes down in the first half, it won't count against you. And PrizePicks operates in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So download the app today and use code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right.
Back.
And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's get over to the important stuff. Your comments and questions. Jonathan, what we got up first?
We got Jan is here and says, hey, John, been watching for your vids for 10 plus years
Thank
now.
you.
And I have to say, one of the best recs you've ever given is actually a book. Oh, this is interesting. Screw Tape Letters. It was a great read for me as a philosophy graduate. So thank you.
Yeah, that is a book I was actually kind of obsessed with for a number of years. It's written by C.S. Lewis, the guy who does the Narnia books. And it's called The Screw Tape Letters. And it's one, again, like I said, I've read for years. It's basically somebody writing to his nephew Screwtape. Demons writing to each other about checking on their progress of things. I read it from a faith perspective because, I'm big in theology and stuff like that. But yeah, it was definitely one of my favorites. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, what's next?
We got Brandon who says, if given infinite resources, especially time and money, would a movie benefit from filming in script order? For instance, actors could maybe understand their characters better when it comes to development and chemistry, less continuity issues, etc. I say no.
No. Like, really, by the time you start shooting your film, you should be intimately connected with exactly who and what your character is. It's not like a television show where you shoot, 9 months on a season and the characters evolve. You get to know who the characters are and stuff like
years.
that. With a movie, you've got like 2 months to shoot it for most movies, 2 to 3 months to shoot it for most movies. By the time you get to the actual set and start filming, hopefully you've done like 6 months of prep and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You already know intimately your characters and you know the story inside and out. So shooting it in whatever order really shouldn't impact it theoretically.
Isn't there like a saying in like, as far as like TV series, especially back in the day with those many episodes, like season 1, the actor listened to the director. Season 2, they were on equal footing. Season 3, the directors listened to the actor.
Well, yeah, there's a great saying that like that there's that documentary out called Showrunners. And I think it was the showrunner of Bones. The showrunner of Bones says, season 1, this is the showrunner talking. Season 1, the actors work for you. Season 2, your partners, and in season 3, you work for the actors.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as shooting a movie goes, I really shooting it in script order would only make it more complicated. It wouldn't help the overall flow. All right, what's next?
We got Raymond. Where do you plan to eat dinner on Friday in Dublin, before or after the movie? If before, my boss is recommending Amakara, a sushi place 9 minutes away.
John doesn't eat sushi.
Yeah, or One House Bistro, a Thai place 13 minutes from San Ramon. Hacienda has its own restaurants.
I'm probably going to I'm definitely going to eat beforehand because the movie's probably going to go to like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I got to hit the road as soon as that's done and start moving on towards a very, very long drive to Portland. So I'm going to definitely get there and eat first. Honestly, I don't have much of a plan right now for eating. I'm probably just going to, and I wouldn't advertise it here anyway, about where I'm going to be eating, but I will probably get there and just look around and see what's good in the air. I'll probably pull into town and then jump on Google Maps and say, show me all the restaurants in the area, and I'll probably just pick one. But see, in the future, what I want to do is get recommendations from people about where to eat and maybe check, particularly barbecue, but almost anything else will do. All right, what's next?
We got an Australian Jedi here, the two-parter. All the doom and gloom online about Wednesday season 2 viewership being down from season 1's numbers is silly when it will still likely end up being the most watched series on Netflix this year. Isn't it? Yes, the decrease is significant, but I'd argue also expected given the 3-year gap and the fact everyone hates Netflix splitting their biggest shows episode releases into 2 parts.
First of all, that's completely not true. I'm somebody, and I think it's a brilliant move. And by the way, the statistics show that it has worked with other shows. It just has. It's great. It gives fans a chance to be more on the same footing. Like fans are all caught up and on the same level with each other. Gets to build up anticipation, stuff like that. And we've seen it work for other shows. And I agree. That's why when we were talking about it, I so many times stopped to say, don't forget, this season 2 is still a big, big hit. Make no mistake about it. It absolutely is. Again, like I said, season 2 right now is number 10 of the highest viewed seasons of an original programming they've ever had. It's huge, but it's a pretty big drop off. And when a drop off like that happens, you've got to ask the question, why? So whether it's the lack of a big viral moment that the first season had to boost it up, whether it was the 3-year gap in between them, who knows? Well, we may never know truly. We are getting a season 3, so it'll be interesting to see, does that downward trend continue or does it level off or even climb back up? We'll find out. All right, what's next?
Wade is next and says, even though it's not out till October, based on the trailers, well, you can't base anything off trailers, but if Charlie Hunnam doesn't get some kind of award for his performance as Serial Ed Gein, it's going to be a missed opportunity, depending on how good the season of Monster is.
Okay,
well, that's
number one, like Jonathan just alluded to, never base that on a trailer.
Yeah.
Right? Never base that on a trailer. I am a big fan of Charlie Hunnam. I've had a chance to meet and talk to him on a couple of occasions, actually. And obviously, he is the star of one of my top 3 all-time favorite television shows in Sons of Anarchy, which Charlie has autographed. This cut I have from the TV series, this Sons of Anarchy vest. Actually, I've got all the main cast autograph on this one. It's one of my favorite possessions, actually. Anyway, big fan. And by the way, I actually think one of his best performances was in that one he did with Matthew McConaughey, the movie version of The Gentleman. I love him in The Gentleman. By the way, that movie is so overlooked. It is a great movie. I rewatched it last year, Jonathan. It's a great movie. I rewatched it because I watched the Netflix version of the series version, which I thought was very good. I really liked it. And it just kind of inspired me to go back and watch the movie one. And the movie is great. I really like it. So whether I would be all for Charlie Hunnam getting some awards consideration, but let's slow our roll a little bit here about he should better well get an award nomination. We haven't even seen his performance yet.
It could only be limited series, and then we don't know what his competition is.
Yeah.
So,
all right, what's next?
we got Xanderman. Hi, John. I hope you're well. Been following you since the movie blog days.
Oh, that's a long time, man.
I think I randomly searched for Star Wars prequel stuff, and your site came up. Anyway, did you catch the Foundation finale? I think I enjoyed the season the most so far.
I haven't even started.
I haven't started the series, let alone the season.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
I really liked Foundation. But I have not had a chance to get started with it yet for season 3. I haven't had a chance to start season 3. I am very much looking forward to it. It's one of those shows that I've talked about this before on the show. Ann and I watch a lot of TV, but there's a couple of shows that we both hold off until we can watch them together. Like I'm watching Alien Earth right now, but that's not what I'm watching with Ann, right? So shows like that. But Foundation is one that we're watching together. And we just haven't really had a chance to kind of line up and start watching that. And hopefully I'll get to do that very soon because I love the show. I love the series. I just haven't gotten around to starting season 3 yet. All right, what's next?
Wesley says, assuming the Doom image is real, I love that it's not just a gray gunmetal variation of an Iron Man suit with a more angular mask. It actually looks like completely different character design-wise. Hoping the same for RDJ's performance.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if there are echoes of Tony in this character, or Tony is an echo of Victor's character, or whichever, it would make sense that he would have one of these mechanical suits. But the difference they said in the synopsis, he is a master sorcerer and a master at technology. So there will definitely be some similarities for sure. And there should be, that would make sense. But it should also be very different and very unique. And that should be Robert Downey Jr.'s performance as well. There should be some similarities in it, but it should also be very different and unique all at the same time. All right, what's next?
Dave says, prediction, Creature Commandos will show up in episode 5 of Peacemaker. Rick Flag Sr. told Emilia that we'll have everyone there. Him being the head of Argus means he's in control of that program now. Also, Gunn said that they could appear in live action.
Well, Rick Flag Sr. already is.
Right.
Listen, look, you could be right. I have no knowledge of this. All right. This is just me as a fan saying, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Now we could see Weasel because I mean, that's done by James Gunn's brother. And we have had Weasel has worked with Peacemaker before. That's a character that literally worked with Peacemaker before because he's in James Gunn's Suicide Squad with Peacemaker. So it could be Weasel. Maybe, but I don't suspect that we'll see the Bride, and I don't suspect we'll see, Dr. Phosphorus, and I don't suspect we're going to see any of them in Peacemaker. Again, maybe an outside shot for Weasel, maybe not. But then again, I won't be stunned if we watch it this Thursday and they are there. I'm just saying my guess is I don't think they will be. We'll see. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says April has $2 billion films, Mario and Michael. What will do more? I got money on Michael. Just wait until the teaser drops. It's
I think the Mario, what's it called again? The Mario Galaxy movie. I think it has a shot at being $1 billion.
But not a guarantee.
The last one, but I kind of expect it to make $800 to $900 million. We'll see. Michael let's put it this way. I will be shocked if Michael doesn't make $1 billion. I'll be shocked. It's not impossible that it doesn't, but I'll be shocked if it doesn't. So yeah, my guess right now, and of course we're giving early guesses based on films we haven't seen yet, based on marketing campaigns we haven't even really seen yet. But my guess right now, and I reserve the right to change my mind later, but is that easily Michael will make more movie than Mario Brothers. All right, what's next?
Zodley says, I asked last week, let me pan this down a little bit, about Timothy Oliphant as Magneto. Rob said he's too young. Just wanted to point out that he's 57, would be 60 by the time X-Men came out. Anyway, love the show. Yeah, I don't think either of us realized that Timothy was in his late 50s.
Yeah, and I think he's definitely not too old.
Yeah.
Now, if he's just trying to take over the same character, like the actual same character that Ian McKellen has been playing, and now you're just recasting, well, then yes, he's way too young. But to play Magneto at his age right now, I think is perfectly appropriate. Listen, if Wanda is his daughter, He's
Yep.
perfectly the right age for Wanda to be his daughter.
Yeah. I always
So,
assumed
I
he was
think-
like in his 40s, which still would work, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All right,
Um,
what's next?
Kareem, two-parter. Movie and TV milestone anniversaries from the last 2 weeks, up to 35 years. August 31st to September 13th would have been 5 years ago, going to 2020. Tenet, Mulan, the live-action remake. And then 2015, which would be 10 years ago, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And then 15 years ago, Machete. And then, let's see.
Regular show.
Oh, yeah, regular show. And then 20 years ago, these last 2 weeks, Bones.
What's funny? I've never once mentioned Bones on this show. We've just done it twice in the same episode.
I know. And then going back to 2000, 25 years ago, Clifford the Big Red Dog, 106 and Park, MTV Cribs. Man, I'll admit, I used to watch MTV Cribs. 30 years ago, Xena Warrior Princess, Freakazoid, Pinky and the Brain. 30 years ago, come on, 1990. 35 years ago, Tailspin, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Law and Order. Man.
And Law and Order's been around that long?
Bung bung.
Ooh, bum, 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 bum. Okay, what's next?
I got lost in the theme song. Brando Calrissian says, looking forward to meeting you Sunday in Portland. Him wasn't on my list, but worth it to meet you. Hitting the Jonas Brothers show in Portland a day before. Well, John won't be. As a Canadian, have you ever listened to Big Wreck? People should check them out if you haven't.
No, I'm not familiar with Big Wreck. I thought you were going to say Great Big Sea, which I have listened to them. Yeah, no, Anne is not coming with me on this trip. Anne was with me in the Albuquerque, Denver, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas swing, but she will not be with me on this one because she has to, she's vice president of a big international marketing company, and their head offices are in Pittsburgh, and every once in a while, Anne needs to go out to Pittsburgh for a while. So she's going to be gone the week that I'm doing this leg of the movie meetup. So no Jonas Brother concert for the Campeas there.
I don't know if they're going to be able to perform as well. I think they need Anne there.
You know what's funny? I'm the one who scheduled the movie meetup tour.
Uh-huh.
The Jonas Brothers are in almost every city we've been doing.
Oh,
They were literally in Denver the night we were in Denver.
yeah.
I think they were in Salt Lake. We're going up to Portland. They're going to be in Portland the day before we get there. So Anne was like, it's almost like the universe is telling us the Jonases need to come. What if the Jonas Brothers come to the movie meetup, John? I'm like, yeah, honey, that's totally a possibility for sure. But yeah, I won't be going to the one in Portland. No. All right, what's next?
Anonymous, is it a reach to say we will get our first look of Michael or get a poster by the end of the year? I say October-ish, November.
Yeah, I don't think it's a reach to say we get one by the end of the year.
Especially a poster.
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm fully expecting it, but yeah, I don't think that would be. If we're playing overreaction, I would say it's not an overreaction to say we'd get one by the end of the year. So yeah, I think we're going to get it. By the way, we saw a bunch of it at CinemaCon, and it shockingly looks really, really good. I don't know why I said shockingly. Antoine Fuqua is a great director, so we'll see. But yeah, I think we might get one before the end of the year. All right, what's next?
All right, a couple more here. Timmy Two Shoes says one battle after another came in at 97 on Metacritic, which makes it the highest rated film on the platform since Parasite, also 97, and Moonlight 99. Recent Best Picture wins: Nora had a 91, Oppenheimer had a 90, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Please don't use acronyms, but I did know that one.
Yeah.
At 81, Coda 72, and Nomadland at 87. I didn't see Nomadland.
It's so good.
That's the one on the list I did not see.
Oh, Nomadland is so good. Anyway, yeah, and its Rotten Tomato score is like 98 or something like that. I thought about making its reviews a topic today, but I decided not to because we've already talked about it being a major Best Picture contender. But I don't know, maybe we'll go over them and talk about them tomorrow. But I didn't like the trailers. I don't think this movie looks very good. But everybody I've talked to so far that has seen it really loves it. That's why we talked the other day about the fact that it's probably right up there in the Best Picture race, maybe even the lead film in the Best Picture race. So we'll see.
All right, here's our final of the tips.
All right, last one today. What's next?
Batman Drew. Congrats on 400 million views. You've been a true pillar of the fan community. I'm about to cross 250Ks on my channel. I just started, a hair short of you at the moment, but I started my channel because of your inspiration. We appreciate all you do.
Yeah, I put it up on the social medias the other day that over the weekend we crossed 400 million views. I again, compared to bigger YouTube channels, that's a drop in the bucket. But I never ever dreamed that even if I did this show for 40 years, I never dreamed we would get to that number for us. It's just, what we do and the way we do it and all that kind of stuff. And I'm really floored by it. It's amazing. At some point, maybe someday we'll get to 500 million. I don't know. That would be nice. Maybe we'll, maybe we won't. But bottom line is, thank you to everybody for helping us get to that point. It's just amazing. 400 million views is just hard for me to even wrap my head around. But thank you to everybody for that. And here's moving forward.
Yep.
And with that, that's a good place to end off today's episode of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here and making our little show a part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because it gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And you guys just help us do what we do. So thank you so much for your support. Big thanks to Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.